Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. This is the case of the Idaho 4. Please like, share and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. And it helps putting awareness across. Hannah Clear, may she rest in peace. This beautiful young girl was unalived or unalived herself. Trigger warning. This happened in March 2022. 5 months, 6 months before the horrific quadruples took place. According to Hannah, his father, he said that it was just an accident. Hannah OD'd herself with sleeping medication over the counter. A bit difficult to believe. But the people, students more like, her friends, said that she was actually unalived. What was strange is that Hannah was found 3 days later. She was unalived or unalived herself on the 23rd. Her lifeless body was found on the 27th. Make this make sense. In the beginning of this case, it was said rumors, speculations were coming from the college saying that the quadruples had something to do with Hannah Clay's unalivings. And yes, that is one of my main motives, revenge. I have a couple of motives, but Hannah Clay has always been one of my main motives. Hannah was born on 15th November. She was barely 21 when she was unalived. The quadruples took place on the 13th of November. One day before her birthday. I mean, one day after the quadruples, the 15th would have been her birthday. It was even said that Hannah's brother, half-brother, that she found out was a half-brother, allegedly a couple of weeks or months before she was unalived, took revenge. His name is Scott Jr., allegedly. He was there with his friend or cousin brother. He's the one that orders food, waits for his food, and then he throws his food without even opening the box. I exposed that first in the beginning of this case, and I noticed that when he enters the grub truck, not the brother, not the half-brother of Hannah, his friend or cousin, gets off a white car. Could that have been a Hyundai Elantra? Because the people in the college were saying that Hannah's brother and cousin was seen at the grub truck and they were driving around in a white Hyundai Elantra 2013 model. You may be wondering, where does Hannah come into this picture? Allegedly, Madison Morgan, may she rest in peace, or Kaylee Congalvis, may she rest in peace, one of them, and it's most likely Maddie, was bullying Hannah Clay. She shared a dorm with Hannah Clay. My gorgeous stories at Manfor Panda wrote this. She deserved it. They're talking about Maddie, unfortunately. Each and every one of them deserved what they got. Karma finally caught up to the horror of all a gang did to that little girl back then. Now that is a horrible thing to say, even if it's true. So Panda says she deserved it. They're talking about Maddie or Kaylee. Each and every one of them. So they're talking about the 3 girls and Ethan. I think the 3 girls. She said that karma finally caught up to the horror of all the gang did to the little girl back then. As a mental health counselor, as a therapist, practitioner, bullying is a very serious subject because it triggers people. Revenge can always be a motive to serious bullying. And this is not the first bullying incident I've been allegedly talking about. We can add what happened to Dylan Mortensen, one of the surviving roommates. Maddie put her up on TikTok. I don't like to say anything about the people who are no longer here with us. But I've always promised I'm not going to leave any rock unturned because we need the correct justice for Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, Ethan, Hannah Clee, Hudson Lindo, and for Tim Reed, who the Vandals beat up in 2023. Now this could be a good motive to come and take revenge. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was an inside job. If DM was being bullied, she could have decided not to intervene at all, not to even call 911. Or she could have been involved. Maybe she got help from her father, since she was calling her father so much. And since DM and Queen Kelly was seen that night with mask, I can believe bullying could have been a revenge. A very good motive. Hannah's father is called Scott. Strangely enough, Hannah's half-brother at the grub truck is called Scott Jr. This is what he wrote. I'm Hannah's father. I've read the autopsy report, including a toxicological report. I've spoken to the coroner and investigating officers. I'm sure he spoke to Kathy Macbeth, the lawyer, the coroner, the teacher, the professor. She has a lot of multitask. I've spoken to the coroner and investigating officers. Hannah was unalived from OD, of OTC sleep medication. There is no evidence of foul play. Please respect my family's privacy and Hannah's memory. I'm trying to do that, but it's a bit hard when there's so many victims, so wish you rest in peace. So this is Scott Clear. The guy at the grub truck, Hannah's brother, is called Scott Jr. Interesting. Ben Shapiro. I wonder if it's the same Ben Shapiro that we see on the news. Somebody make me the case why Ronald McDaniel should maintain her job at the RNC. She took over 2017 and has presided over a blowout in 2018. A president lost in 2020. 2 rounds of losses in 2021. And the loss of Senator and wild GOP House underperformance in 2022. I don't know what that is about. I need to look into that. And then Hannah's father replies to Shapiro saying that's considered success by the RNC. Wow. Need to look into that. A young woman called Kaylee Miller asks him actually, Scott, I'm so sorry about the loss of your beloved Hannah. May she rest in peace. People are starting rumors that Hannah was bullied by the victims of those unalived. Could you please confirm it, if that is true or not? The rumors can stop. Was Hannah being bullied by any of the four Idaho four? Good question. I don't think he replied to that. So I actually think Kaylee Miller asked that question and then he replied by saying, I'm Hannah's father. I have read the autopsy report, including toxicology report. I've spoken to the coroner and investigation officers. Hannah was unalived from overdose of OTC sleep medication. There's no evidence of foul play. Please respect my family's privacy and Hannah's memory. Okay, let me add one thing, which I've always heard from the beginning. Scott Clay and his family are the Mormons from Utah and those areas. And what I've heard is that there was some private cases with Hannah and rumors that the father didn't want to come out public. And that was one of the reasons Hannah was being bullied. I need to address that today. The rumors I heard was that Hannah was dating a girl. May she rest in peace. And if that was true, it is kind of strange that DM was being bullied for being GAY. Isn't that what Maddie wrote on a TikTok? Like this if you're gay. Jaden, as Jaden Smith. So 2 incidents of almost the same patterns of behavior. These are all rumors, speculations that I'm looking into, nothing else. I'm not putting any of the victims down, but I want to get to the bottom of this. So we have 2 incidents to do with bullying. Hannah Clay, may she rest in peace. DM, who's alive, according to what Maddie put in on her TikTok on Halloween's Day, 13 days before the quadruples. Second bullying case. Then we have Hudson Linder, third bullying case. We've heard that he's been bullied by Shawalter. They both attended the same frat, Delta Tau Delta. How many bullying cases was happening over there? Revenge could be a very good motive. I hate to say that. Crime of passion, revenge, money, rugs. There could be many different motives. But I believe revenge had a big thing to do with this. Especially that we hear from the mainstream news media that Maddie was the main target, and sometimes we hear Kaylee was the main target because of all the injuries, fatal injuries she got. Let's not forget, when Maddie was recording DM and they were hazing her, Xana was present, not Kaylee. So let's go back to My Gorgeous Stories at Man for Panda. Listen to the words. She deserved each and every one of them. Deserved. So they're talking about not one person, more than one. What they got. Karma finally caught up to the horror all of her gang did to that little girl back then. All of her gang. So they're talking about Maddie and a gang. Who's Maddie's crew? Xana and Kaylee. So was this about bullying? It's starting to make sense. For me, I've never taken Hannah Clay, his brother and cousin, out of the mix. That is one motive that has always stuck with me just like the frats. Those are my first two motives, and the Banfield boys are my third ones. And Showalter. Let's put him up to highest to the list. Put Jack D there too, and put Adam. And obviously put the surviving roommates. Allegedly, all my thoughts, my speculations, my opinions, nothing else. So don't come for me. So now there's more. Not saying anyone deserves what happened, but you can see in the food truck video that the way Maddie just kind of plows through the group of three like they don't even exist, and then starts trying to grab other people's food. She definitely didn't have manners. Yeah, you can see, but she was drunk. But my opinion is people's true colors show when they're drunk. Wow. So this is still the panda person telling us. I would have taken that more with a grain of salt. She was very intoxicated that day. And yes, I do agree. At times, people's character comes out when they're drunk. Definitely. So it could be a bit of both. But remember, the college students would know better than us what was going on. This was from Twitter, or should we call it X. To clarify, Hannah Clay took her life in February. Apparently, she shared a dorm with one of the victims and got bullied. Poor girl. Her birthday, 15th November, Idaho, homicide. So the people in Idaho, Moscow, do not believe it was a OD. They believe that she was unalived, allegedly. I know people can OD with over-the-counter prescription medication. You can even OD with ibuprofen and paracetamol if you take too much of it. We all know that. But even for her to have unalived herself, something got her to that state of mind. The bullying was too much. It hurts me to talk about it. No one deserves to be bullied. Nobody deserves to be bullied. Whether they're good, whether they're bad, only God can judge us. Nobody else. This young girl's life tragically ended in February. And a month and a half later, it didn't stop there. Hudson Linder was unalived. And they said that was an accident too. A 19-year-old boy was found in the creek, Paradise Creek, near Sigma Chi, actually, strangely enough, after Delta Tau Delta party. It was nothing but an accident, according to Idaho Moscow police, which I doubt. Hannah Clay, they said, unalived herself. She accidentally OD'd. Second accident. If they could have afforded to say that the quadruples was an accident, they would have done that. But nah, it was too much to cover up. So if Maddie was a mean girl and Kaylee and Xana allegedly, and they were bullying Hannah Clay, and most likely DM like we saw on Halloween, it's still on Maddie's TikTok. So that should have been taken down as evidence. The family should have deleted Maddie's TikTok. But thank God they didn't. Because at least we have some hints of what was going on in Halloween time. And that's important. Hannah Clay was unalived herself on the 24th of February 2022. She was found on the 27th, 3 days later. Isn't that strange? That is the first biggest red flag. She lived in one of those apartments and she shared a dorm with one of the 4 victims. I heard always it was Maddie. And I've heard it was Kaylee. So it was one of the 3 female victims she shared a house or dorm with. Tragic ending. Hannah is from Utah. I came across this Jamie Concy, Justin Williams, Papward Roderick. Someone posted in one of the Facebook groups that Hannah's roommate took pictures and that she was actually STABBED and that there was red liquid under her torso region in her bed and the OD is a cover-up. I believe that. I can really believe the OD is a cover-up. The roommate claimed no one believed her about it not being an OD and acted as if her claims are crazy. Don't know if there's any truth to this, but there is. This is quite disturbing to cover up unaliving, a murder. And then to have these 4 students murdered in the same manner while in bed. Did y'all actually hear that? The 4 victims were murdered in the same way as Hannah Clay. So imagine if it was Hannah, if Hannah Clay shared a dorm with Maddie, Kaylee, or Xana. They were unalived in their beds in the same manner. That's what this post says. Yes, let's think. Kaylee and Maddie were found in beds. Don't know if there is any truth to this, but there is. That is quite disturbing to cover up or unaliving. And then to have these 4 students unalived in the same manner while in bed. Why do I believe her brother came and took revenge? Obviously the father, allegedly, is going to cover up for the brother. He's not going to say it's his half-son, or his son, I mean. Hannah's half-brother who did it, allegedly, in my opinion. What do y'all think? I kept on saying Showalter nodding his head to Hannah Clay's brother and brother's friend or cousin. I'm not sure if he's the cousin or friend. I can't help but noticing, guys, what does Showalter have in his jacket? What is this guy carrying? Why does he have a cut on his eye? His nose looks like it's broken. Showalter, are you carrying a keba? People seem to be ignoring this. What is this man carrying? 2 weapons? Is that a hatch? Hatchet, what is it he's carrying on his inside his jacket? Could that be what they found at the grub truck? Now, what is interesting, do you see the 2 guys behind him? You don't see the faces yet. That is Hannah Clay's brother and Hannah Clay's cousin. They kept on standing behind Maddie and Kaylee and watching them. It's so creepy, but that last text that was on Facebook really creeped me out. It does make sense. The girls were unalived at the same manner as Hannah Clay. In bed. We saw Saeed watching the pictures. He was the first to pay the Venmo. Nobody ever told me that this is Hannah Clay's brothers. But I was observing and analyzing the face, and you can see the one standing in the front looks exactly like Hannah Clay. He's much older than the frat boys, so I knew he wasn't there to chill with the frats. The one with the brown jacket behind is his friend or cousin. These are the 2 guys that came with the white Hyundai Elantra because I saw the one with the brown jacket behind getting off a white car. The white Hyundai Elantra keeps on circulating around the grub truck. I've shown you. I'm sorry that this picture is blurry, but you can see him looking at the Sigma Chi boys. How would they know each other unless they have the same plan? He's looking directly at their direction. Now you see him walking in. Everything changed at the grub truck the minute these two enter. See, they pretend they don't know each other, but yet again they came together. Look at the movements that is going on. This one goes around, they look at him. Watch the Sigma Chi boys. And then he goes and stands behind Maddie and Kaylee. So these two guys are really important, whoever they are. Here's the second one. They came in a white Hyundai Elantra. Did they come for revenge that night, is my question. He orders food, and when he gets his food, he throws it in that bin over there. Look at number 9 and look at Hayden with his long hair. One's talking on the watch, his Apple Watch, and the other one is giving the sleeping sign. He's going to put someone to sleep. That's right before he puts something in Maddie's mouth. Allegedly. This is Hannah Clay's brother. And he's carrying something in his jacket too. Pay attention to the road. You see the other guy coming in. The friend or cousin, whoever he is. You see him getting off a white car. The car drives off. It's not easy to see, that's why you'll have to go to the grub truck. Watch them when they come in. I think you see the car now. Yeah, you see the wheels of it. I'll try and mark it the next time. You see, they're pretending they don't know each other. Keep your eyes out on these two. They don't even belong there. And why would the college students say that Hannah Clay's brother and cousin were there? 3 months ago, Hannah Clay, his brother, not this one, his name is Scott Jr., came into my channel, her brother that she grew up with, and he said that it was these two that took revenge. And he said the case is more complicated than you'll think it is. He even mentioned some information that sounded very right about BK. He said BK was an informant, and BK wasn't part of this. The guy in the brown jacket throws his food in that bin straight ahead. And when he's leaving, these two guys leave right before hoodie guy leaves. These two guys are standing and paying attention to Maddie and Kaylee. They're standing right behind them. So I find it to be very interesting. Watch this clip and then go back to the original grub truck video and keep your eyes out for these two guys, for hoodie guy, Jack Showalter, and those three. I think David Lodge or his lookalike is one of those three. And they're carrying. Look at how the guy in the brown jacket is looking at the frat boys. All of these people know exactly what's going on. May the correct justice be served for these 4 victims. For Hannah Clay, may she rest in peace. Hudson Nindo. These people need to be stopped. They really need to be stopped. I've been researching, analyzing this case from the very beginning, and the more I dig deeper, the less it looks like BK is guilty, that he did this by himself. I'm not sure if he's involved or not. He could actually be involved, but the chances look very slim. He could be involved too. Something could have gone wrong BK could have been buying from Mrs. Portal evidence, BF, her Venmos show it all. She's selling cocaine. So what if things went terribly wrong? Maybe it was BK and Brent Kopak buying from her. But these two young men could be one of the 3 DNAs, and the 3 Banfield boys could be one of the 3 DNAs. And Shawalter and Jack D. Those are my first ones that I believe. The surviving roommates, yeah, inside job, in my opinion. Nothing makes sense. Please like, share, and subscribe.